Thanks and welcome to join me on V615. I'm Kejang Henry at Timber. Let's begin with our top stories. After viral video circulating on the torture of renowned musician Simon Longe sends seismic waves across the world, Defense Minister DIVERTISSEMENT has ordered for inquiry to identify the suspect. Mevey finally rests in her mother's earth after her body was desecrated by two young footballers. And Elekam's boss Eric Esuse debunks what some political parties have termed fraudulent moves to manipulate voters' registration list. He faced the press after the voters' registration list was published for citizens to verify pending corrections. Top stories. And Work International vindicated after 5 years of torture. Longcanas Anu Simon alias Longe, the organizations and sundry have expressed in Simon. Cynthia Latte comes back to that very sad image.
Cry of agony and pain. Music artist Longe, half undressed, sits on the ground, begs for the torture meted on him to stop. This video has gone viral since Wednesday, October 23rd. It is set to date as far back as 2019. The engaged artist, known for his interest in social causes, shared the video on his social media. His cries for help seem not to move the still unidentified perpetrators, men handcuffed. The video temples the right and freedom of every individual against the artist Longe and demands an urgent investigation. Cabaret actors, stakeholders of the entertainment industry, and numerous Cameroonians are calling for justice for the artist.
DIVERTISSEMENT has Minister of Defense hereby informs. In the morning of Wednesday, 23rd October 2024, a viral video appeared on social media showing acts of the victim accuses some service member military region for perpetrating this. The presidency in charge of defense immediately instructed his specialized services to open an investigation. More light will be shed on this unfortunate incident. Responsibilities shall be established and conclusions drawn based on the results of the investigation in accordance with the laws and regulations in force. And of course, this has been signed by the head of the communications department or division of the Ministry of Defense, Navy Captain Atomfak Gemosiri Serge. Exhumed and buried 3 times, 24-year-old Giwa Mevey is finally resting in her mother's earth after her body was desecrated by 2 young footballers. Buried, exhumed, reburied, exhumed, and reburied. After mutilation, she now finally rests as we hear from you, Ambu Gladys.
The cries of distress of members of the family of Giwa Mevey, whose body finally returned to the family's compound in the Kafu neighborhood in Baham, in the west region of Cameroon. The 24-year-old woman's tragic story gained widespread attention online since October 5, 2024, when her grave was desecrated by 2 alleged footballers. In a gruesome act, the 2 men decapitated her decomposing body, placing the severed parts in a bag, allegedly for ritual purposes. However, their sinister plan was foiled by the Special Mobile Forces in Kongsamba, who intercepted them during a vehicle search operation. The remains of Gwewa, previously buried in Kongsamba with the approval of the local authorities, were returned to her family. Her body had been placed in the mortuary in Banjul for several days as efforts were made to gather the different body parts before preparing her for burial again.
We are overwhelmed. We do not know what to say because we have never lived this situation. The girl we are burying again today died a year and 3 months ago. Here we are again in the same ritual.
Captain Mebuant Daniel of the Baham National Gendarmerie led the initiative to recover the body and ensure it was restored to the family with dignity. His team's efforts were commended for their swift actions on response to the horrific crime.
We thank the Justice Department to have assisted us, else we would never have been aware that the incident took place in our compound.
Meve Gwewa died on June 28, 2023, following complications from childbirth. Her family first buried her on July 15, 2023, in the family cemetery, but even in that, she could not rest as her body was desecrated just over a year later. The family, extremely shocked by the incident, has once again laid their daughter to rest.
Thanks very much, Ambo Gladys. The ongoing Anglophone crisis, which is in its 8th year now running, continues to devastate communities in that part of the country. And so many are those who have been questioning the role of the United Nations in trying to bring peace as the United Nations is observing the United Nations Day today. Maureen D takes a look on that.
The crisis, primarily affecting the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, has resulted in severe humanitarian consequences, including rampant killings, sexual violence, and significant disruptions to education and healthcare systems. Thousands have been displaced, seeking refuge in safer areas, yet the international response remains tepid. Critics question the United Nations' slow reaction despite its 70-plus years of existence and purportedly capacity for intervention.
And the United Nations can stand as a mediation in between those who are belligerent and the states of different countries. But United Nations does not infringe on the sovereignty and independence of states.
Within the nation situation, it's an issue within the nation. All they can do is encourage the nation to bring peace.
As discussions around Africa's representation in global governance intensify, the continent's role in the United Nations Security Council remains contagious, particularly regarding veto power.
Today, Cameroon is sitting there as the president of General Assembly. So one step at a time, we get there.
Advocates for peace gathered in Douala to mark 64th adherence anniversary of UN adherence, highlighting the need for decisive action. The events empowered several peace advocates to strengthen their efforts in addressing the ongoing crisis.
They have contributed in global development. They have contributed in national stability. There are nations where they have had interventions during their crisis. They have also helped in economic development.
With the world observing United Nations Day, the focus turns to the urgent need for effective international engagement in resolving the Anglophone crisis and ensuring the protection of vulnerable populations in Cameroon.
And Elections Cameroon boss Eric Esuse has debunked what some political parties have termed fraudulent moves to manipulate voters' registration list. Facing the press this Thursday in Yaoundé, Elections Management Body, Eric Esuse says the Election Management Body published a list of voters' registration according to the provisions of the Electoral Code. Beatrice Ndamo reports from Yaoundé.
Barely 4 days after posting provisional electoral registers at Elekam Council branches on October 20th, according to Article 78/2 of the Electoral Code, calling on political parties and electors to go and verify at council branches, Cameroon embassies and consular posts. abroad in case of irregularities and omissions in conformity with the law.
It must be pointed out that irregularities may involve biographic and biometric elements. Biographic elements include family names, surnames, date and place of birth, as well as the occupation, domicile, or residence of every elector, while biometric elements concern fingerprints and photo of the elector. These different elements serve to distinguish each elector when processing the register of voters with a view to render it credible and reliable.
This, as some political parties are accusing Elecam of excluding around 120,000 citizens from the electoral list.
Controversy professionals will do better to comply with the law and to petition a revision commission instead of submerging the measure with unfounded recrimination.
The Director General of Elections at Elections Cameroon, Elecam, added the revision of electoral registers is by a joint and inclusive commission, including Elecam stakeholders like administration, municipal councils, political parties, and is validated by a procedure report signed by all. Clarification made to the press this October 24th in Yaoundé.
Thanks very much, Beatrice Ngamu. We move to the markets. Of course, Cameroonians are still feeling the pinch of the price hike in some of the basic necessities. And Cynthia Latte now takes us to one of the most cherished foodstuff known as cocky beans.
Marie Fleur arrived at the Bonaberi market in Douala Economic Capital this October 23rd, 2024 morning with cocky beans on her menu. But disappointed by the price that has almost doubled, she has been forced to seek alternatives. This morning I got to the market with cocky on my program. I was forced to change the program because the price is too high. At the other end of the market is Kebu Mevel, who has rather reduced the quantity she cooks to satisfy the cocky beans lovers in her home. It is really expensive, actually, but we have no choice because it is the menu that we, the Bambileke, love so much. Cocky beans retailers suggest that the wholesale price has increased considerably, decrying that they have lost enormous customers to the situation.
The small base we usually buy for 7,000, now it's 8,500. There's a difference of 1,500. When customer comes to the market, they're unable to buy. You see, a person comes to the market with 3,000 francs to buy, and you say a cocky is 300 a cup. She'll say no, she's unable to buy.
The cup that was sold for 159 is 300 francs, and the cocky that was sold for 200 francs is 350 francs.
The vendors say it now takes tact and strategy for them to be able to make gains and put food on the table daily.
We try to convince them. As a business person, you have to convince your customers.
Meanwhile, consumers of this Cameroonian dish, sometimes sold in streets, are also feeling the pinch.
I actually enjoy eating cocky, especially in the market. When I see 1 and 2 women passing like this, I enjoy it. But when I ask them why they actually reduce the quantity.
Cocky beans lovers have expressed hope to see an improvement in its prices.
Well, we stay with you. Cynthia Latte is going to tell us that female farmers in the informal sector of cassava and horticulture food chain have been encouraged by researchers to collaborate with researchers in order to have better crops. Of course, they had a training to that effect. Cynthia.
Amid growing challenges in providing a balanced diet and promoting a healthy lifestyle in Cameroon, the fair will adopt a holistic approach to showcase a variety of local and international food products that contribute to overall well-being. We have to go back to our roots. Look at our soils and food crops like potatoes, cocoa, arrow, ndole. We need to eat them daily. I think they are not that costly. We find them in our local markets. It is basically a game we need to play between what we have in our pockets and how we make our food choices daily. Rosette Ivaha, who is parenting the event in its French acronym SAP, praised the initiative for its timeliness and relevance. I discovered throughout the richness of our local products, the importance of valorizing them, and the need to claim them for our well-being.
pour notre musique.
This year's second edition of SAP plans to feature diverse activities including a marathon, skincare sessions and workshops on various health and nutrition themes.
I think tourism plays an important role into well-being, because well-being is not just about being sick or being ill, because you could be in good shape, you could not be sick, but you're still not in a well-being state. So tourism has the ability to touch every sector of well-being.
We would like to have Cameroonians understand that we can eat healthy with our local dishes, and that we can take care of our skin without bleaching it, and that we should take care of our mental health to be well-performant daily. With the theme, Let's Start the Change, the Food and Wellbeing Fair aims to engage consumer association, farmers, health professionals, nutrition experts, and representatives from the food and cosmetic industries, fostering collaboration and innovation in promoting healthier choices for all Cameroonians.
Thanks very much, Cynthia Latte. And transforming Yaoundé into a safer, healthy, and healthier city by evolving from what is known as a congested urban plan is a resilient move to make sure Yaoundé has a new facelift. Of course, this is done with the assistance of the German Technical Corporation, the GIZ, that is out, or German Development Corporation, the GIZ, that is out to work with the Yaoundé City Council. Beatrice Ngamo.
Imagine a city where all modes of transportation coexist and pedestrians walk freely and safely. That is what Yaoundé aspires to become by 2027, this thanks to the Move Yaoundé project. Moving from the City Hall to Monte and Rouge, passing through Avenue Kennedy and the Central Market, pedestrian paths and rest areas will be developed as part of the Move Yaoundé, implemented by GIZ in collaboration with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development and the Yaoundé City Council.
Tous ces partenaires-là s'inspirent d'une stratégie que la communauté.
All these partners are inspired by a 2019 plan elaborated by the City Council called the Sustainable Urban Mobility Plan. This plan was validated by the Community Council, and it's on this plan that we rely to implement a number of actions, notably the development of junctions, the development of pedestrian zones. There is also the reform on public transport.
La réforme du transport public.
There will not be an creation of green corridors and pedestrian paths, support the professionalization of taxi services, and prepare for the arrival of a high-level bus service, Trans Yaoundé. This project will bring about the development of a complaint mechanism against assaults in taxis in Yaoundé. And also through this project, we'll have the creation of a database for registering taxis in the city of Yaoundé at the level of the Yaoundé Urban Council. When we talk about professionalizing artisanal transport, it means that they must feel like a profession. They must be modern. They must provide a quality transport service, a safe transport service, and a secure transport service. Co-funded by the European Union, the German government through the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, and the French government, Move Yaoundé is a component of the Cameroon Inclusive and Sustainable Green Town Program, known in French as Cameroon Ville Verte, Inclusive et Durable, which aims to improve urban mobility, combat air pollution, and reduce energy consumption.
Well, thanks very much, Beatrice Ngamo, drawing the curtains for this edition of the news, in which you got information that the Defense Ministry has ordered for inquiry into the torture of famous musician Simon Longe after a video went viral on social media space on his torture. And, of course, how the Elecam's boss, Eric Esuse, debunks what is known as political parties have termed as a fraudulent move by Elecam to manipulate voters' registration list. Coming up is le débrief de l'actualité with Lee Pejo. I've been Kejang Henry Atembe, thanking you for being there with us.